Hey, Matt J Real Estate here. We're back here with your high desert professional. We have a new professional for you this week. This is Paul, one of my good friends. He does solar. He knows everything about solar. Well, I don't know about everything.
Lots of things.
Lots of things about solar. So we're going to ask him a few questions that most people might have, and he's going to tell us a little bit about the market or the industry right now. As far as solar goes, there's a few different ways for people to get solar. There's different ways for them to pay for it. Can you explain a little bit how that works? How those both work?
Yeah. Just like most things, it's credit based. So most people don't pay any cash. You can just switch over from paying your electric bill to paying a solar payment instead. And normally it's going to be 20 to 40% cheaper than your electricity bill. There's the old school way where people like to come in with cash and just look at it as an investment. If I invest 20 grand, it's going to take me 5 or 6 years to recoup my money. And after that, I just get to save money by not having an electric bill anymore. And then there's a mechanism called a lease, which is a little bit less popular than it used to be. But in the future, you never know. So those are basically how people do it. Normally, they don't have to come out of pocket with any money, and they save money right away.
Sweet. So the solar industry's been around for a while and started, a certain way, like everybody had to pay for their solar panels and stuff like that, but they don't have to do that anymore.
No, sir. I do solar. If I do 10 solar systems a month, 9 people don't put any money out of pocket at all. And let's say they're paying their electric bill $200 a month, they end up paying a solar payment around $130 or $140.
And there used to be like some incentives if you had solar. Do they still have those?
Sure. Yeah. For the next 10 years, the government covers 30% of that cost. So if a solar system $30,000, you'll get a $9,000 incentive back from the government when you do your taxes. There's some rules that go with it, but for the most part, it's a great program. What else can you do home improvement wise that the government covers 30% of the cost for you?
There's been like in the industry, there's like a hero loan and stuff like that. That a lot of people they don't really like. They see you have problems with it.
Sure.
Do you know anything about those?
Yeah, it's called the PACE program, and it was something created about 10 years ago to help people kind of with marginal or shaky credit still do solar or other home improvements, energy efficiency upgrades or things like that. And really for what it was a really great program. You could have a 400 FICO score and borrow 90% of what your house was worth if you really needed it. The problem is that with how you repay it, you didn't have to make a payment on it sometimes for 1 or 2 years. And so a lot of contractors misrepresented what it was, and they acted like it was a grant from the government. And then 2 years after the fact, your property taxes tripled. But they didn't tell you that your property taxes were going to triple, and that's how you make your money back, or that's how you pay your loan back. So it's still there. It's still a good program sometimes, but it's not used all that much anymore.
Suggest it, don't suggest it.
I would suggest that if you need it, it's just the financing is a little bit more expensive. The interest rates are higher, and it does encumber your property or put a lien on your property. So you have to pay that loan off if you sell your home. And if you sell your home, sometimes it can muck up your transaction a little bit too. So if you have equity and shaky credit, sure. But if you have good credit and you don't need it, I wouldn't use it.
So, what's a couple of things that there's people in the industry that are brand new, people that start.
I would never work with brand new people.
Right. So what are a couple of things that maybe if somebody was working with a brand new agent, they would want to make sure they went over?
Well, you want to make sure you're using good equipment. Lots of times you can find that stuff on the internet or Google, whatever equipment they're going to do. You want to make sure that you're getting some kind of long-term warranty from a good provider. So whether the company's been in business for a really long time or there's some kind of third-party insurance policy or something like that they provide, get references. I would always try to get 1 or 2 people at least to, if you haven't been referred to that company that can vouch for their work, see if you can drive local installations that they did, or find out if you have any friends or anything like that. A lot of people use social media and they'll put, hey, looking to go solar, any references you can think of? And a lot of times in our area, you'll see my name pop up 4 or 5 times when people do that type of thing. So those are the types of things that you want to look for. And owning solar is a long-term commitment. You're going to have it for 10, 20, 30 years on your house. So I'd always be hesitant about working with somebody that hasn't been doing it for a long time, just because they don't have years of customers already. They don't have results. They haven't seen people with solar on their roofs for 10 years like I have. So I'm hesitant about working with new people for those reasons. But those are questions that you can ask and get references and see their work.
Sweet. What about like the installation side? So is there anything people need to know about actually getting the panels put on their roof?
Mostly the roof. Make sure your roof's in good shape. You know, insist, hey, I want people to look at my roof. Some companies, they won't look at your roof now. They'll just go and look at it and see if there's any shade and say, okay, we can install. And then mid-installation, they find out that the roof is shot. Or worst case is you get panels up, and then the first time it rains is you have a bunch of leaks on your roof. They come back out and say, oh, well, your roof's in horrible condition. Well, now you got to pay us $4,000 to take the system off your house, plus pay the cost of the roof and things like that. So I'm really, really, really insistent on focusing on the roof and making sure that the roof is in good condition for you when you're going to do it.
What about how many panels should you get? Like, is there any suggestions on that? Like, so like when you have extra power, it goes back to the grid. You get a little bit of a rebate, but it's not that much. So you really want to kind of focus on, just the right amount of panels, correct?
Yeah, you just want to make sure that whoever you're working with looks at how much power you've been using and asks, are there going to be any changes? Are the kids moving out, or are the kids going to get older and start using the iPad more, the laptops more? Are you going to get an electric car, or did you just put in an air conditioner that hasn't reflected on your usage so far? Do you want to be more comfortable in the summertime? We go to friends' homes in August and it's 90 degrees in their house, and that's horrible. But if you have solar, now you can kind of plan for that and plan to use your power a little bit more. So normally base it on what you've been doing and then see if there's some other changes you're going to make along the way.
And so overall, if you get solar, how much normally do you see that people will save per month?
It kind of depends on their usage overall, but just today I helped a family that was paying their electric company about $400, and their solar payment was $190. So lots of times they'll save 50%, but then sometimes people build it up. Sometimes people install backup systems like batteries or generators, or maybe they have to do roof work or something like that. So it's really case by case.
Depends on the size of system you go with.
Yeah, it's dependent. If the more power you use and the higher your electric bills are going to be, the more your savings are going to be. But sometimes people want to pay it off really quick. So if their electric bill's $400, they can do a solar payment for $400, but pay their system off in 5 years. So a lot of people kind of take that route as well. So just kind of depends what everybody wants to do. But you should always see a good financial benefit if you're going to do it.
So solar has been in the news every once in a while and stuff like that. What's going on right now in solar that you want to let everybody know about?
Well, unfortunately, the state of California passed some new legislation about 2 weeks ago. And really in April, if you go solar after the beginning of April, the cost of your project's going to double. So if you can go solar right now and pay $130 a month for it, your payment in April is going to be $260 or possibly $300. That's because they're going to have to install batteries on every job. And people think batteries are really awesome, and sometimes they can be, but they're really expensive. So you can do a solar system that costs $20,000, but after April, after March, you're going to have to install $30,000 to $40,000 worth of batteries to keep the power on site versus giving it back to the electric company. So really, it's probably going to kill the market by about 80 to 90% of what's happening right now, because people are going to end up paying significantly more for solar than they are for their electricity bill right now. And lots of people don't want to do that.
So what's the point? Do you see a point to them doing that? Like, is there
why did
why did they do that?
Well, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but when it came to lobbying the state of California, the utility companies are some of the richest companies in the world, and solar companies are getting by. We don't have huge profit margins. We're just trying to do what we can and make enough to be here for our customers for the long term. but the utility spent $40 million lobbying the Public Utility Commission to make this change, and they made the change. And they knew it. They did it knowing that it would lose about 60,000 jobs and basically make the numbers not work out for most people.
What about people who have existing systems? They don't have to upgrade theirs at all. They're fine, or are they going to have to get batteries? Or
yeah, in California, you're protected under your net metering agreement. So when you went solar, you would have been locked in for 20 years. So from whatever time you went solar, you have 20 years of protection in California under your current rules. They can't change it, which is great because they wanted to, and we really pushed back against that one, and they did take that one out of their equation. But unfortunately, they did all the other stuff. But you're protected?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for being here, Paul. Tell everybody how they can find you.
You can always email me at pleon@solarpowerex.com, or just Google Paul Leon Solar, and you'll find it on there as well.
Sweet.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, man. Well, thanks for coming in.
All right, man. Appreciate it.